Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Brajajana Ranjana Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Jamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Kunja Bihari Jaya Jamuna Tiravanachari Jaya 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 Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, जय श्री राधा गिरधारी भगवान की जय, श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा माई की जय, श्री गिरि गोवर्धन की जय, श्री निताई गौर चंद्र भगवान की जय, जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga ki jai, Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Bhutale Srimati Mahavishnu Goswamiti Namine. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Prasarine Nivisheshwara Hari Prasad Sarine. Hare Krishna. Very nice to meet all of you, wonderful devotees. Your moon-like faces enlivens our day. Hare Krishna. So today we are continuing with our discussion on the topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. On the third canto, we are in the middle of the 32nd chapter. We are on verse number 20. It's very interesting. Even the verse references that we have discussing is also going to be 20. 720 and 920. Okay. Please, if you can repeat after me. Dakshinena patharya manah patharyamnah pitru lokam vrajanti te prajam anu prajayante smashananta kriya krutah. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Dakshinena patharyamna pitrulokam vrajanti te prajamanu prajayante smashananta kriya krutah. Dakshinena patharyamna pitrulokam vrajanti te prajamanu prajayante smashananta kriya krutah. Dakshinena patharyamna pitrulokam vrajanti te prajamanu prajayante smashananta kriya krutah. Yes, please. Dakshinena patharyamna pitrulokam vrajanti te prajamanu prajayante smashananta kriya krutah. Dakshinena patharyamna pitrulokam vrajanti te prajamanu prajayante smashananta kriya krutah. The word synonyms, translations and purports by Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Dakshinena sadhan patha by the path aryamanaha of the sun pitrulokam to pitruloka vrajanti go te they prajam their families anu along with prajayante they take birth smashana the crematorium anta at the end. Sorry, to the end. Thank you. Kriya, fruitive activities. Krutaha, performing. So sadhan, by the path of the sun. To Pitraloka, go they. So here it is said that from the sun's southern part, you can go to Pitraloka. Their families, along with, they take birth. So they take birth in the same families from whom they had left. The crematorium to the end, fruitive activities performing. And they continue performing fruitive activities till the end when they go back to crematorium. These 3 points are very significant. Translation: such materialistic persons are allowed to go to the planet called Pitraloka by the southern course of the sun. But they again come back to this planet and take birth in their own families, beginning again the same fruitive activities from birth to the end of life. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, verse 21, it is stated that such persons are elevated to the higher planetary systems, and as soon as their lifetimes of fruitive activities are finished, they return to this planet, and thus they go up and come down. Those who are elevated to the higher planets again come back into the same family for which they had too much attachment. They are born, and the fruitive activities continue again until the end of life. There are different prescribed rituals from birth until the end of life. And they are very much attached to such activities. Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yutapad Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrushabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं दैवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय. So translation again, such materialistic persons are allowed to go to the planet called Pitraloka by the southern course of the sun. But they again come back to this planet and take birth in their own families, beginning again the same fruitive activities from birth to the end of life. Now these are not those people who have spent their time gratifying their senses and not performing any other material sukruti. They are pious people but not devotees of the Lord. So, but at the same time, these austerities that they perform are performed only for their and the benefit of their family members. Just 2 words before this, there is the word mentioned in the verse called Traivargikaha, means interested in the 3 elevating processes. Now in the material world, the scriptures, the Vedas enjoin that every living being perform these 4 activities for being happy, or live in the material world and finish off the material cycle of birth and death. That is Artha Kama. Sorry? Yeah. Sorry, Malik is broken.
You mean Artha Dhamma?
Kama. Yeah, okay, all right. Karma, Artha, Dhamma, Moksha, Dharma, Moksha. 4 things, Artha, Kama, Dharma, Moksha. So material activities, sense gratification, economic development, and salvation. Moksha. So these are people who are interested only in 3 things. They are not interested in moksha. Artha, Kama, Dharma. Interested in material sense gratification, interested in some fruitive activities, dharma, and interested in economic development. That's it. Now for this, they spend a lot of money and they enjoy their lives. So, major portion of Vedas talk about these karmakanda processes. These are called karmakanda processes. When we will say that all those who follow this Vedic way of life, if they do not understand the process of liberation, then they get caught up in these things. In the verses prior, especially from the 12 to 15 in this chapter, there are instructions by Kapil Muni who says that if you worship any demigod, including Brahma, you can go to Brahma's planet and merge in the body of Brahma. And when Brahma is liberated, you get liberation. Few verses after that, it is said that by worshipping even the demigods have to come back to the material world. So the question arises, 3 verses before that, it is mentioned by Kapil Muni that when those demigods like Brahma, when they get liberation, those living beings also get liberation who are living in his planets. But after that he says that even demigods like Brahma, they have to come down to the material world. It's a little technical. This is slightly technical. These are hidden meanings behind it. It's outside the purview of our discussion today. But in this verse of today, it is mentioned that these are the materialistic people who are then born in a special planet called Pitraloka. Pitra means forefathers. Those who are not interested in these kind of activities of some religious activities, they go to hellish planets or lower births. Pitraloka is gone through the southern side of the sun's rays. It's mentioned here. So by the southern course of the sun. By the northern course of the sun, you go to higher planets. That's why I think many times in English there's a word, it went south, it went down. Even the earth, south is also down. We are in the south Pacific. So Pitraloka is the planet where ancestors go who have performed these kind of fruitive activities and performed the karma kand. By misunderstanding the position of Krishna and the other demigods. Now, even those who follow so-called the path of God, they also use and do fruitive activities. We understand that people who follow the Vedic Dharma, the people who follow Hinduism, they also follow in this karmakand process. They are understanding Krishna as Supreme Lord. But even those who follow Islam and Christianity also follow these things by asking for God for their fruitive activities. Is it not so? We have seen big preachers of Christianity who says, come. If you have got material problems, come. We'll pray to Lord Jesus Christ, God, and then your problem will be solved. So people come if they've got a backache, headache, some leukemia, and pray and they want to get cured. That's how they increase their numbers. Now, is this not fruitive activity? You are engaging God to solve your karma for what? And again you continue your own things. This is not pure devotional service as for Bhagavatam. So either ways, those who follow Vedic Dharma, but still don't understand Krishna, and who do not follow Abrahamic Dharma, who follow Abrahamic Dharma, but still do not follow instructions of Lord Jesus Christ, equally wrong. Same thing with that of the followers of Islam too. Moment we have got any material gratification, we will not be able to go back to the planet of Krishna, or Vaikuntha planets. Why do we need God to come and solve our problems? Of course, it is good to ask for help. But if you say, any person can come and say, okay, do this, and God will solve your problem, and they go back again to doing their own nonsensical things, in alcohol drinking, again meat eating, intoxication, all sorts of bogus things. Somehow or other, these very secretive information of Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada has brought out to the world. It becomes our pious duty, greatest pious duty, that every student of Srila Prabhupada should broadcast this message, this pure message of Bhagavad Dharma which Srila Prabhupada has given to the whole wide world without discrimination. So here it is mentioned that those who perform these activities go to Pitraloka. So there exists Pitraloka. You see, the Greeks, the ancient Greeks, were followers of this ancestors, Pitraloka. It is also mentioned in the mainline media, mainstream media, that movie, Gladiator. I have not seen the movie, but I saw some of the excerpts where this particular person, the hero, prays to his ancestors. He makes dolls of them and says, help me. So he's actually their worshippers of Pitraloka, forefathers. Now, those who live in Pitraloka. It's not heavenly planet. It's lower planet, but not hellish planet. They have to be, those who follow this karmakand process, their followers, their children, and their children, and their children, they have to perform a particular sacrifice every year. It's a 15-day process during the month of Shravan, called Shraddha ceremony, where they pay oblations to their ancestors. They worship Krishna only, especially in Gaya, where there's a special Vishnu temple, where they worship Lord Vishnu, and then when the Lord Vishnu is satisfied, these people get liberation from there and become devotees of Krishna. And even if you do not go to Gaya, but still if you perform those oblations, then the forefathers' lives are a bit satisfied. Otherwise, all problems come to them. This is a fact. It happens. All kinds of problems come to them. That is the reason why you find that those who follow Vedic Dharma, there is a significance of these sacrifices, and the sons have to perform the sacrifices of oblations, not girls. That's why the importance of son was there. And they can give them moksha, because then they go to Gaya, perform these sacrifices, Shraddha in Gaya, and they can then be elevated to heavenly planets. There's a particular place, one place, where you can perform sacrifice for mothers also, which we discussed in the past. Same Kapil Muni and Mother Devhuti's discussion takes place in this place in the western part of India. Bindu Sarovar is the only place where you can perform Shraddha for your female ancestors. For devotees of Krishna, we don't believe in all these things. It exists. Don't get us wrong. These things do exist. These planets do exist. But when we are worshipping Krishna, when we cook for Krishna every day and offer bhoga to Krishna, and Krishna is satisfied, everyone is satisfied. So that is the reason why in the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna is saying, Lord Vishnu is instructing Durvasa Muni. When Ambirisa Maharaj was unnecessarily being disturbed by Durvasa Muni, and he came running, Sudarshan Chakra left from Lord Vishnu's hand to kill him. He went everywhere and went back to Lord Vishnu and says, help me. Tell your Sudarshan Chakra to stop, kill me. He said, what are you saying? He says, Sadhavo Rudayam Mahiyam, Sadhunam Rudayam Swaham, Madanyat Tena Jananti Naham Tebhyo Managapi. He says, devotees are my heart, because only I am there in their heart. I do not know anyone except them, because they do not know anyone except me as theirs. And then he further says, Krishna further says, as Vishnu, that you don't understand this, do you? He says, devotees are my heart, meaning I love my devotees. I am under the control of my devotees. They are not under control of me. You don't understand me. He said, I am very close to them. I have special favor for them, those who are my devotees, unalloyed devotees. He says, not only this, he says, understand this, devotees of their devotees are also very special to me. This is fantastic. This is the point. The worship of a pure devotee is more important than worship of Krishna. That is the reason why we have to find out a pure devotee and worship him. And this worship of his gives us the knowledge. Chakshur militam yena tasmai shri guruve namaha. That's when the devotee gives us eyes to see the knowledge. The Vedic knowledge is revealed. Because from Vedas you cannot understand Krishna. You can't. Although from every Vedas one has to understand Krishna. But from the Vedas you cannot understand Krishna alone. You require that touch of a devotee. Because devotional service of Bhakti Yoga is very mystical. It's not straightforward. It is not straightforward because it is very straightforward. You depend upon Krishna, nobody else, there, begin, pure devotee, straight up. You love Krishna, nobody else, straight up, finish, pure devotee, nothing else. You remember only Krishna, nobody else, pure devotee, finish, nothing else. Straightforward, but it's not so straightforward. It's very hard. It's very hard. That is why when we are chanting, our mind wanders here and there. One of the main reasons why the mind wanders is because we are not studying the purports of Prabhupada very thoroughly and the translations. Because every translation talks about this point only, how to focus the mind on Krishna. So here in this particular discussion, this Pitraloka, where oblations to the forefathers, once they finish their processes, their activities, they again come back to this earthly planet and they are born in the same family to whom they were attached. Interesting. I've heard that in India. I've heard that. I remember going to a friend's place and I saw this person's, my friend's grandfather's photograph and him, exactly the same. Exactly the same. He was a young boy, he was a teenager. The grandfather had a grandfather face, but it's exactly the same. And he said, all my family members, including the priest, said, when I was born and they see me, said, he has come now in this birth, in this body. Wow, very mystical, the process of transmigration. This exists, you see? This exists. And then they continue this process. And again they die. And again they are born again in some other planet. Again Pitraloka they go. Again this, again that, again this. We are not talking about those who are atheists. They go to the hellish situation, unfortunately. That is the reason why all the devotees, they are actually the greatest heroes for their families, both male bodies and female bodies. Because their bhakti protects all their ancestors. Because Krishna, and when we are dependent upon our pure devotee, the Krishna likes the pure devotee, and when we are dependent on the pure devotee, like Prabhupada, then Krishna likes us also. This is the point. Our chastity, just like a wife is chaste to the husband, in any circumstances, the husband is chaste to the wife, in any circumstances, we should be chaste to Srila Prabhupada. Our chakshu, our knowledge, whatever we can gain from anyone. Surdas sings nice bhajans, so we can understand this. Mirabai, we can understand this. But our knowledge base is Srila Prabhupada. We go back to Prabhupada, linking everything to Prabhupada. That is our perfection really. There is no other perfection for us. There is no other perfection for us, at least for me. So this is why devotees had a great boon to the family. And because of that, we are eternally grateful to Srila Prabhupada and all the followers of Prabhupada who has kept this movement running and given opportunity to us to purify ourselves. And we have to pass this knowledge to other wider world. Our families are the wider worlds as much as possible, so they can get the benefit of this message. So somehow or other, we must scrutinizingly study these verses of Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, especially. And with this, we can save ourselves. Chanting by itself will certainly help us. It can liberate us, take us back to Godhead. But if it is not helping us, if a mind wanders, can come back to this pages of Bhagavatam. Now, this whole process of how a soul transmigrates to other planets and comes back are mentioned, especially by worshipping the different devas, demigods, are mentioned in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, verse number 20. The 5 verses, I very quickly read the translations of it. So those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires, surrender unto the demigods. Very heavy stuff, Krishna says. And follow that particular rules and regulations to worship according to their own natures. So kama istair rutagnana prapadyante anya devataha tam niyamam asthaya prakrutya niyataha swaya. So here Krishna qualifies those people who worship the demigods? Whose intelligence has been stolen away by material desires. Not atheists. Atheists are gone, finished. They surrender unto demigods. So, and they follow the particular rules and regulations to worship demigods to their own natures. Now it is very hard to worship demigods. It's not that easy. It's not that easy. And they are human beings. You see, just like the normal living beings. Because of their past activities, they are given elevation to demigods. 33 million, one of them. They cannot solve any situations. He says, I am in everyone's heart, Lord Krishna says. The next verse. I am in everyone's heart as the super soul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. Now here, Krishna is saying very astonishing thing. He's saying that anyone who, because I'm situated in as a super soul in everyone's heart, I know their heart's desire. And if someone wants to worship demigods, I don't interfere. Let him go. In fact, I make his faith steady so they can devote himself to a particular deity. Now the problem arises. There's a big problem. If Krishna is saying that I make this person's faith steady in worshipping demigod, how do we preach to them? Because he's seeing results, you see. Is it not so? Even amongst Christianity, somebody may, a miracle happen to me, so I become God, and their emotion attached to God through Lord Jesus Christ is only by material attachments, benefits. As long as I get benefit, I'm all right. Benefit stops, I'm finished. See? Very dangerous situation. Very dangerous situation. How to preach? When Krishna says, I give the firm faith. If it was Krishna says, if you worship demigod, you'll become faithless. So we can say, listen, worship Krishna, you'll see the faith, Here says, no, even otherwise you can get faith. And that bond is very hard to break. Even devotees, we have to actually, in our preaching, take away demigods from the temples of the devotees, home temples, at our own risk, praying them. And it is very unfortunate that even after they become devotees, other devotees tell them, okay, you can continue worshipping demigod. This is bogus. We have seen it happening, and that should never ever happen. This is against going Prabhupada's teachings. It is bogusness. I'm very upset about the situation. You cannot minimize Prabhupada's teachings and Bhagavatam teachings. Oh, worship demigod quietly. Nonsense. Or keeping quiet about it. Complete nonsense. You are not their friends, you are their enemies, even if you are yourself devotees. Demigod worship, if you are a devotee, we have to understand, devotee of Krishna, Krishna the Supreme. Here Krishna says, I give and make their faith firm. So our job becomes double hard to these people. We can pray, but only a sampradaya can teach them. We can bring them to Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada can speak to them. We have got no power to break this bond of demigod worship. Krishna further says, endowed with such a faith, he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtains his desires. Then he says, but in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. That knowledge needs to be given to them. Then Krishna says, men of small intelligence worship the demigods. And their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the penance of the demigods. But my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. Further Krishna says, unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, was impersonal before and have now assumed this personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. So those who worship demigods think Krishna is also one of them. Abominable. At the same time, I remember here in New Zealand, I was meeting a client. It was a church, and they were advertising, And he said, "Oh, you worship Krishna and all. I think Krishna is one of your gods in India, I nearly chewed his brain out, I said, I chewed himself, tore himself out. So he was a priest, big man, giving sermons. I said, how do you know about Krishna? He said, you're giving me business, you can talk any nonsense, He said, I respect Lord Jesus Christ. He has died for me, I accept this. You have no knowledge of Krishna? One of those gods in India? What do you mean? And I recited the verses, and he backed off. Because, that person who made a mistake and he smiles quietly and he backed off. Like in his own office in the church, in his home, I think it was. I fired him. I said, wrong, you are wrong. But he still called me for advertising. It was all right, Some piety was there, And then he says, Krishna says, I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them I am covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I am unborn and infallible. So this is how Krishna is very mystical. If you try to find Krishna from Vedas, you cannot find. You require somebody who has seen Krishna face to face and said, this is Krishna. Even Lord Brahma, in this chapter which we are discussing, Lord Brahma, although has written Brahma Samhita by having a glimpse of Krishna's abode in Vaikuntha, still he falls down. Because from the Mahavishnu stage, you have a choice of either going up or going down. Similar verses of demigod worship and worshipping of other devatas as mentioned in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita also. Same 9th chapter, verse number 20. 5 verses. Very interesting. So Lord Krishna says here, those who study the Vedas and drink the Soma juice, seeking the heavenly planets, worship me indirectly. Avidhi purvakam is the word. Purified of sinful reactions, they take birth in the pious heavenly planets of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. Then he says, when they have thus enjoyed vast heavenly sense pleasure, and the results of their pious activities are exhausted, they return to this mortal planet again. Thus, those who seek sense enjoyment by adhering to the principles of the 3 Vedas achieve only repeated birth and death. He further says, but, there's a but here, but those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. It's a very big promise by Krishna. So even with all our inabilities, if we worship Krishna and says, help me purify it, slowly and steadily He'll purify it. But we have to keep working ourselves. We want to finish it off in this life, this Krishna consciousness. Go back to Godhead, achieve this life. He says further, those who are devotees of other gods, Krishna says, and who worship them with faith, actually worship only me, O son of Kunti, because they are doing so. But they are doing so in a wrong way. Again he says the wrong way. Avidhi purvakam. Why is it worshipping Krishna only? Because Krishna says, I am the one who gives them benediction in the 7th chapter. But that does not mean that by worshipping a particular demigod you can go back to Krishna. No, you cannot. Prabhupada vehemently denies this in the previous verse, purport. You cannot do that. I am, Krishna says in the Bhagavad, again 24th, verse 24, 924, I am the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down. In the last verse, those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors will go to the ancestors. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings, and those who worship me will live with me. And this is what ultimately Kada Muni is instructing Mother Devhuti, that this is what we should do. Do not worship demigods. He was informing about entanglement in fruitive activities to his mother, giving information about the whole material world, how it works, and how to get out of it. And this getting out, Srila Prabhupada has taught us first. And then we have to learn how we are entangled. You see, this is the difference. And then, when we are convinced we are suffering, then we'll be serious about our bhakti and finish it off. This is what I understood from this verse. I'll read the translation again. Such materialistic persons are allowed to go to the planet called Pitraloka by the southern course of the sun, but they again come back to this planet and take birth in their own families, beginning again the same fruitive activities from birth to the end of life. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. All of you are very qualified devotees. You have your own beautiful understanding and deep understanding of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. I have certainly not covered all aspects with my limited knowledge. So please, I'm very eager to hear your realizations. Hare Krishna. Please feel free.
Well, Krishna, he states very clearly, all you get from all your fruitive activities is repeated birth and death.
Yes. Yes.
That's what you're going to get.
Yes.
So this is what we want to become free from. This was one of my desires when I became a devotee. I wanted to become free from birth and death. So I was attracted to that concept. Otherwise, if you're told all that you're going to receive is birth and death, that is your reward.
Sure.
You would be thinking, I don't want to do that.
That's right. You are intelligent. Stop it.
Because of the pain of separation and being taken away,
Yeah.
and then having to start all over again, if you can make a nice sandcastle and someone comes and smashes it,
Yes.
why are we doing this?
Why are we doing this?
So, madness, actually. Krishna is not so cruel or hard to say that we are completely mad, but he is just saying this is what you get.
Yes.
Keep pushing the reset button.
Yes. Start again. Reset. That's right. That's right. That's right. And you say again, you go back to the similar families, the same families,
Yes.
in many times. So again, separation. Your enemy becomes your friend. In the next birth, your friend becomes your enemy.
Yes.
All the same thing. Bogusness going on and on. Very true. Very true. Thank you, Prabhu. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Would you like to say something, Mother? Yes, that's right. That's right. And why he appeared, to take our sin. True. Jai. Sorry, Prabhuji, would you like to say something? No? Thank you. Jai. Granthraj, Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is ki Jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Chanda Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Shashananta Koti Vaishnavida ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you.